I'm Peter Colt, and this is my writer's dossier.
No writers were harmed in the production of this podcast.
Here we go. I'm here with Peter Colt. This is the writer's dossier. Pete, so tell me, what's it like being a cop in Rhode Island?
So it's a lot of fun. I have to tell you, and I've been off the street for a while. I'm a house cat now, but being a cop is like you have the front row, you have the ticket to the front row seat to the greatest show in the world because it's either exciting or it's hilarious. So I'm a cop in Providence, Rhode Island. I'm in my 20th year. I spent 10 years in patrol midnights. We call it the Outlast. And I worked in the type of neighborhoods that like people lock their doors when they drive through. And like if you're there, it's either, you're commuting in to get some drugs or some other things, maybe a lady of the evening, or maybe you live there and you just have to survive. But I wanted to work in a place where being a cop was real. And so I did that for 10 years. And then I'm in the prosecution bureau now where I help the state prosecute juvenile offenders and I arraign juvenile offenders on misdemeanor charges. So that part, not so exciting. But, patrol was great.
Oh, I love patrol, man. I was talking to Patrick O'Donnell from the Cops and Riders podcast recently, and he's got a lot of street experience up there in Milwaukee, too. And when I was a cop down in Charleston, it was like, man, you always get someone in the back seat who thinks they know the law, or they know I know what's right. And
I know my rights. I've heard a lot.
I know my rights.
And then having the discussion of like, actually, I know you think you know your rights, and I appreciate that you feel that you know your rights, but you don't know your rights. And, so.
And that's just it. I mean, half of the time people talk themselves into the back of a patrol car. Either they're doing something suspicious, which gets your attention. I mean, I never had to go around and camp out and wait for trouble. I just drive around and there it would be, as far as, targeting or whatever. No, man, we're just driving through and you wouldn't believe what happened. There it was.
Well, even forget just like, proactive stuff. You go to a call, like it's a loud music house party type of thing.
Yeah.
And like, we would always start the same way in my district. We would just say, hey, look, just turn it down. That's all we're asking. We don't.
Yeah.
And somebody would inevitably start and, they'd run their mouth or you can't be in here without a warrant, or they would start with, oh, the pigs are here. And it'd be like, really? Do we have to?
That's where we're going there. Chris Rock had it right so many years ago with his special. He did a little video. Yep. Just, you're a human. I'm a human. Answer my questions. I'll answer your questions. You have questions. You as a cop, I'll answer your questions. I'll tell you, and we're here. We're always here because either something you did or someone else. And I'm just here to, something brought me to you.
Yep. Like, I get it. Divine providence smiled upon you that we have this interaction today. Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay. So how did you go from an Army civil affairs officer to being a cop, or were you a cop first and then you went into the reserve and then you were doing both at the same time? Most people don't even know what civil affairs are. Explain that to us.
So I enlisted in 1991 as a delayed entry in the reserves because I knew I was going to college and I wanted some experience. So I became an 11 Bravo. And
oh, yes. For 11 Bravo folks out there. Everybody, we're talking to Peter Colt here at 11 Bravo. He started off in the Army as an infantry.
Yep. So I enlisted in the infantry. Yes. I was supposed to go to basic training in, that summer between freshman and sophomore years.
Yep.
And in May of 92,
something happened.
I'm a passenger in a head-on car collision.
Oh.
And I busted my collarbone. So I ended up going to basic training in August. And so I think at the time it was 14 weeks of, we call it OSIT, one station unit training, where you do your basic and your AIT, you bang it out.
Let's pick the hottest month of the year in Georgia.
Right. But then come October 1st, they flipped the switch and it was cold. And like come down in our gray PT kit, shorts and t-shirt, we're all shivering. So did that. got commissioned, thought I was going on active duty, wanted to be an active duty infantry officer because I didn't learn my lesson the first time,
No.
and I didn't get active duty. And it was 1996. My grades weren't that great. No big deal. Ended up branch transferring to the military police corps because I knew that they drove around and that there were women at that OBC, and there were definitely no women at Fort Benning at the time.
Yeah.
Um, Went to Fort McClellan, Alabama. I was still in
Oh.
the same training unit that I had been in as a reservist. Was kind of bored, was thinking of getting out. And in Rhode Island's a really small state. We're like the size of a county in your state.
Yes.
And there was a civil affairs unit, and I heard they deployed and that they had these weird missions. And so April,
Weird missions.
oh
I
yeah, no,
love it.
and this is exactly what happens. April of '99, I transfer over to them. It's cool. They do all this high speed stuff. We have road marches, swim tests. We're vaguely affiliated. We're attached to, we're part of USASOC, U.S. Army Special Operations Command. We are
Mhm.
not the tough guys, especially on the reserve end. That August, we have they call it a Muta 5. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday drill where they were like, hey, you guys qualified in June. We're going to Key West. Um,
Woo!
19th Special Forces Group has airframes and they're doing a water jump. We have vehicles, chocolate peanut butter. It's going to work. And so I was like, this is great. I've made the right decision. So that was August of '99. By January of '99, I was stepping off a plane in Kosovo, or actually former Yugoslavian Republic, North Macedonia, whatever they call it now, on a bus to Kosovo, where was part of a CA team that directly supported the Russian army. So we were the CA element to the 13th Tactical Group, which was this ad hoc bunch of Russian paratroopers that had been in Chechnya a bunch of times. And like Kosovo for them was a vacation.
Oh, yes, because life is difficult in Chechnya.
Right. Yes. And not many people were shooting at them in Kosovo, where everybody in Chechnya was shooting at them.
That's the
So
problem. Is that happened every day.
exactly. So did that for I think it was a 6-month tour, 9 months all total. Came home. I've been working at a place doing trademark research, which not exciting. And then got laid off. 2002, a battle roster came up that nobody could talk about, and I got myself on it and ended up
Nice.
in Iraq in '03 supporting uh, Task Force Viking, 10th Group, Special Forces Group.
Nice. Nice.
Did that till they rotated home a couple months later. 101st comes in, they don't need us. So they kind of said, we're going to send you guys north of the Green Line, north, everything in the, Iraqi Kurdistan. I spent almost a year living in a town in northern Iraq, a city where northern Iraq, Syria, Turkey meet, running civil affairs operations. And, civil affairs are the hearts and minds people. We were doing school projects, we were doing
Are
water
you
projects.
drilling wells and building hospitals and doing great
Right,
things?
cash
Uh,
projects, like, guys from the State Department or the Army would show up at our team house with, like, "Here's your Ziploc gallon bag
yes.
filled with
Dewey.
packets of $10,000,
Yes.
to do your this project payment."
Go forth and do great things, American
Right,
GI.
exactly, and it's funny you do the accent. I grew up speaking Russian, so when I worked with the Russians,
Ah, я
it
говорю
was
по-русски?
"Да, немножко, только
Немножко.
немножко".
Oh, very
So
nice.
part of my role in 2000 with the Russians and we also worked with the Serbs was I was the team's designated drinker. And
Of course.
so, yeah, no, somebody has to.
This
So,
episode is sponsored, not sponsored by Basil Hayden's.
which
Go
may or
ahead.
may not unofficially
May or may
sponsor.
not be unofficially.
So did that. 2003 ran CA operations in northern Iraq in my AO. Um, Population of 250,000, about half the size of my state of Rhode Island. Ran around with like big mustaches, sterile uniforms, and due to a shortage of sidearms, we had sawed-off shotguns. Just one of
Very
those things that
nice.
happens. Um, Come home, kicked around for a couple months, picked up an active duty tour down at Bragg, supporting Operation Enduring Freedom, where I
Yeah.
was basically a glorified CQ for like a year, like basically waiting for a phone to ring on midnights and
Yep.
building the general's briefing book.
Nice.
They offered, my boss is a great guy. He said, hey, I can keep you on active duty for the rest of your career. and if I did that, I probably was not gonna make it. A buddy of mine at the time was also a reservist. He was a special forces officer at the time, and he was a cop in Quincy, Mass. And he said, "Hey, dude, you're in your 30s. You need a job with a pension." He's like, "Why don't you go to the cops?" So 2006, there was a vacancy. I put in for it, went through the process, which was long. And that summer, I ended up in the Providence Police Academy, which was like basic training, except they would actually hit you on occasion, just to show you what it was like in case you didn't
Oh
have
yeah.
that experience in your formative years. Um, did that, graduated, got on in January of 2007. In 2008, I was back in Iraq, in Kirkuk, running a civil affairs team working for 10th Mountain. And that was my
Oh,
last deployment. Did that for a year, came home and was got into the cop thing and just, started plugging away, building a career.
when you talk about Rhode Island police, I know it's not the same, but all I can picture is you as Jim Carrey and me, myself, and Irene.
So they Jim Carrey's a Rhode Island State Trooper in that, and their uniforms are far cooler looking than ours.
Oh yeah,
But what that movie captures is like what a small town the state really is. It's like
yeah.
everybody knows somebody, or there's this commonality where it's like when you give directions, you don't give directions of businesses that exist now. You're like, you list businesses that haven't existed in that location for years. So you're like, all right, yeah, you drive down Waterman Street and you pass by. Remember, there used to be a little donut joint on the corner where the guy made the donuts himself. Yeah, with a Sal's. You go by
That
that,
guy.
you take the left, and that's everything. Or like
Then
when
you
Rhode
see the
Island,
tree. You know the
right,
tree. That's where you
right,
turn.
right.
It's just-
And when Rhode Islanders meet, like when the Rhode Island diaspora out of state meets, like if we're like BoucherCon, you
yeah.
sit there and you start naming people you might know from like, oh, what town are you from? Are you from Providence? Do you know this guy? Oh, how about this guy? Oh,
6 degrees.
right,
Yeah.
because it is, and invariably you will know somebody,
I love
and
it.
yeah, it's like a small town.
That is
So yeah,
fantastic.
like,
So all of this, what a fantastic background. What an amazing folks. We're talking to Peter Colt. He's a police officer in Rhode Island. He's been active duty military, done some really cool things. You mentioned Boucher Con, Pete.
which
That's where we
where we
met a
met.
couple.
Yep.
Yeah. We're both at the author table sitting there like a couple of guys, and I barely got a word in edgewise because of the long line that was in front of you. You were so busy signing books, and I was just like helping out. I was a little helper.
I
But
think that's a generous characterization, but thank you.
well, you were signing books the Cold Island,
Yep.
and now we're talking about the Driftwood Bones. Both of these are out, folks. Thomas and Mercy, you can grab them on Amazon. Driftwood Bones is right there on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see great cover. Love it.
Thank
And
you.
so the thing about these two books, how did you go from everything that you just talked about and everything that you did? How did you pull information, fiction, and just capture everything you'd gone through into these books because it's a cop story set in
Yep.
Rhode Island. And so how did you keep those two things separate, and what how did you figure out what to put in the book and what not to put in the book from your own background? How much is real and how much is not?
So I I had written an earlier series of 6 books involving a Boston-based PI, Vietnam veteran set in the 80s. And he was great. He was a tough guy. He was a former Green Beret, but like he always wins the gunfights and he almost always wins the fist fights. And like, all women want to be with him, all men want to be with him, that type of thing. All men want to be him. And it's just like, it's a great series and I love it. But I wanted something different and I wanted something really dark.
And you came
And
up with
Colt
Tommy Kelly.
Tommy Kelly, who is a Massachusetts state trooper. He's a detective. He's not very exciting initially. He's very fitness conscious and he's very concerned. Like he's in his 40s and he wants to keep in shape. And so that part of it was kind of fun to write that because he's like a lot of the detectives I know where like they've got the protein shakes and they have to have the grilled chicken and Caesar salad. And obviously I don't do any of that. Um, but I also wanted it to be really dark. I grew up on Nantucket Island, which is where it's set. And as a kid in the 80s, like
Like the only
especially,
cop on Nantucket Island, right? Or the only
well,
state
there's
trooper.
one state trooper and then there's like
Right.
a local force. But like the
Right.
island
One
would
state
get,
trooper.
it would
Come
get
on.
very isolated. It would get very dark in the winter and it had this like gothic thing. I was like, I want to capture that. So, wrote it. My agent, who is the incomparable Cynthia Manson, was able to get Thomas and Mercer interested in it. They made a great deal. And I really wanted to, I view it as a trilogy. And it is actually a trilogy. I'm working on number three as we speak. So,
Yeah. We
the
got a
Driftwood
title yet?
Bones. No, I have a working title, but every time I pick one, like they
Never works
always
out.
send out, yeah, the editors are very nice. Like, hey, that's a great title, but let's go in a different direction. And so I don't even bother telling people anymore. It's just up there so I know what file to click on the computer.
Right,
Um,
exactly. I'm the same way, folks. Driftwood Bones comes out June
so,
23rd,
yep,
right?
I believe
Right.
so. Eh?
That's still on track. I love it. So
Um,
tell me
go.
this, Peter
Yeah.
Colt. I
What
feel
do you?
like I know you because of our shared background, or
We do have
similar.
some commonality.
We have some commonalities. We got along at Bouchicon, but I've got to know something personal here.
Mhm.
Why is
Shoot.
your wife long suffering? Why did you
Ah,
describe her as long suffering?
So I met my wife in 1997. We worked together at the trademark research place, and
The
um,
boring place.
the boring place. Yeah, she was the best part about it. It's why I stayed for so long, to be frank.
Nice, well
And
played.
she was dating this guy who was not me, and like I was just annoying. I was like, hey. Come on,
Shocked.
leave him. Like, listen, I've got all this cool stuff going on, like which was complete fabrication.
You
So
gave her the
she
hard
ends
sell. Oh,
I
love
gave her
it.
the hard sell. I came back from Kosovo. We started dating. And like I had a reputation at work as being kind of prickly and abrasive, and it was
No.
deserved. You know how it
What?
is for service members, veterans, and like I also just like you. I grew up in a time and a place when you were not encouraged or allowed to back down. If you thought somebody was challenging you, if you thought there was a fight, that was it. And I've since mellowed considerably, as middle age will do that to you. So I would, if somebody at work said something, I would certainly engage them. So then down the road, my wife realized that it wasn't just in the office. It would be like we'd be out, and like I wasn't getting into fistfights or anything, but
It's
again, I was just
You and Mark Wahlberg are hanging out. I get it. One thing leads to
I
another.
wish everything but
Fists
the
are
arson, But
right.
so then we start dating, and I go on these like two deployments, within 3 years. So that's part of the long suffering.
Okay. All right. So
Here's,
it's
but
not
here's,
not because you're a jerk. Okay.
well, it is
Go ahead.
kind of because I'm a jerk. So here's like what I consider my magnum opus of this defines this woman's tolerance.
All right.
It's 2007. I'm getting ready to go on a deployment. We're living together. We're not married. We have a condo that we bought. And first of all, as you know, being married to a cop is not easy.
Nope.
And so you roll that into it. And one day I said to her, hey, um, I know this is not the best way to put this. I know that intellectually, but I'm about to deploy again. And if I get both my legs blown off by an IED, my girlfriend can only come to Walter Reed during visiting hours. But wives are allowed 24/7 access. I think we should get married.
That's a hard sell there, man.
Well, yeah, no. And so this is a standard of what it's like to be married to me, like it's then there's also like the
Behind door
door
number
price.
one and option
Right.
B. Oh my god.
Right. And or I say things like, oh, I almost got into a car accident. Say, you were almost a rich widow. The life insurance almost kicked in.
Yeah, yeah. How about
So
that?
that part of it doesn't make me the easiest person to live with. Um,
Hey,
so
coming up
yeah.
on 20 years, so hats off to your long-suffering wife
Thank
and
you.
everything she's put up with. Hey, real quick, we're running low on time. I've got to get into Deported to Sweden. This
Yes.
podcast you have, I'm turning around and now everyone's got a podcast. A lot of
Well,
podcasts have gone away. I miss a lot of my podcast buddies, but Deported to Sweden, briefly, let's give that a plug. What are you doing with that thing?
so deported to Sweden is my very close friend Fred, former roommate, former drinking buddy, running buddy. We talk about writing and art and film and going out and drinking in the 90s in Providence. All while we are unofficially sponsored by bourbon because we can't get a bourbon to pick us up yet. We may drink a name brand bourbon that may or may not have been, yes, look a lot like that. And so we drink while we're doing it. And We do, we release one, episode a week. We started off last season with like an hour and 20 minutes per episode, which was, I think, probably a little too long. Now, due to tariffs and shrinkflation, we're down to 40 minutes an episode. You pay the same great price, but you get two-thirds of what you were getting before. And it's,
Yes.
it's a lot of fun. It started as a project. He wanted to promote my books, and we wanted to hang out together because, you get in your 50s and you don't
What?
get the time to
Okay,
spend with.
I look forward to that. Whatever.
So listen, and that's it. So it's a chance for us to drink and hang out and spin tales.
I love
So
it.
check it out.
Deported to Sweden, folks. Look it up on Buzzsprout or just you do a search. And definitely, here's the thing, folks, out there in podcast land with the Writer's Dossier, PeterColtAuthor.com, the man destined to
Thank
be
you,
a
sir.
Special Forces affiliate, and Army soldier, 11 Bravo, and police officer. With a name like that, you're going to be a cop, and you're going to write a book like The Driftwood Bones. Folks, it's out June 23rd from Amazon. Pete, anything else you're working on? Number 3,
Um,
where can people find you besides the
so
website and the podcast?
besides the website and the podcast, I'm on all the socials.
Okay.
Some of the books are in the indie bookstores. You can find me on Amazon, Goodreads, all of it, and I'm out there.
I love it. Folks, definitely look up Peter Colt. You don't want to miss a Driftwood Bones. Dude, it's so good to see you. I'm glad that we met, and I
Likewise.
can't wait to have you on. Let's talk when your book drops, and
Okay.
let's catch up on number 3 when you get ready on that.
And hey, I appreciate it. It's always great to see you and always great to be on your show.
Thanks, Pete, man. We'll see you later. Folks, look up Deported to Sweden, PeterColtAuthor.com. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
See ya.
Take it easy, Jeff. Bye.
Bye, everybody. The Dossier Podcast is a production of The Idea Academy.